Welcome back to the show, everybody, especially all you Reds. This is the Shankly Sessions, the Liverpool podcast we bring you each and every week. You could head over to YouTube as part of our upper tier offering and subscribe to the channel. Hit the bell notification, drop a like on the video. We'd really appreciate your support as we continue to grow. We have a little matter of a Sunday game. It's WrestleMania weekend, so we're flat out with content at the moment, but this game is absolutely massive on Sunday. A lot on the line here. Man United, of course, would love to upset our title race ambitions. And of course, we would love to get one up on United, of course, especially on the back of that disappointing situation in the FA Cup. So we will preview the game, of course. We'll go through team lineups and all that kind of stuff. It's going to be interesting because there's a lot up for debate in terms of team lineups and all that kind of stuff. We'll reflect, first of all, on last night's game, give our thoughts on that as well. We'll talk a little bit about the title race and various other things in between. We'll touch on the managerial situation and a few other little bits we have there for you, of course. As always, we'll go through the Gaffer's press conference today. I think when they come this quick and this fast, you have press conference, game, post-match, press conference, game, post-match. You know, they come so quick that it's there's not much new that really comes out in it. But he touched on a few nice points today that we'll get into as well and get your thoughts on it as well. So in the chat, of course, Joanna's in there. Big up, Joanne. Joanne, you're keeping an eye on us Reds at the moment, aren't you? You're you and Dell and all the Arsenal gang. You're keeping an eye on things, that's for sure. I just don't think it's going to go all Liverpool's way. It certainly is not going to go all Liverpool's way, and we know that. And at times this season, it certainly hasn't as well. So we know that there's 8 games now left, 8 crucial games, starting with Sunday at Old Trafford, which is a tough place to go for us. In recent years, it's been okay, but I mean, seeing what happened with that FA Cup, and we can't afford to drop any points at the moment because I think if City get their nose in front or Arsenal get their nose in front, it's going to be very hard at this time of year to reel people back in. So it's going to be points over performance as always, but always nice to put on a real good performance, especially at Old Trafford as well, and especially with how weakened United are as well. And we'll go through that later in the team lineup and stuff like that. I think it's going to be a hard match. It is going to be a hard match. And I just hope we don't go in with this kind of, say, the wrong attitude because of a weakened United side. I think what we have to do is go out and be professional about our business. And if you look at the last 2 games that we played in, we've made a hard old fist of them, really, when it should have been so much easier. Coughing up chances and stuff like that. You look at the Sheffield game, we'll touch on it in a minute. Could have been 2-0 down inside 5 minutes, you know. So, always dangerous and stuff like that. My man is in. How are you, my friend? Shame the Rock couldn't get the job done on the bus last night. Yeah, absolutely. Mad stuff. I tell you, it's electric at the moment. I don't know if you've been watching the clips for WrestleMania and those clips coming out from the world with Triple H and some of his comments and all as well. But I'm so pumped for this weekend. It's going to be quality football, quality wrestling. I tell you, by Monday, I'm going to be absolutely poleaxed. There's no doubt about it. So, yeah, let us know your thoughts anyway. So, let's start. Let's start off. We will take, first of all, I'd like all you Reds out there, if you could, drop a vote on this. If you haven't voted for this man already, why haven't you voted for this man? This man truly belongs in the Hall of Fame. So make sure you get on there and you're voting. Let's get this man over the line and into the Hall of Fame. Love it, Joanne. Thank you so much. Always supporting the channel. Really appreciate it. I get to watch it in Amsterdam this weekend. Oh, you're away this weekend, are you? You're in Amsterdam, are you? Nice. I like that. I sent Delboy my predictions so he can win some money. How have you been doing? Have you been picking up a few bob recently, Joanne? I like the sound of that. I love to see people winning and getting bets up. But yeah, if you can, folks, make sure you're putting an L vote there on Robbie Fowler, and let's try and get him over the line and into the Premier League Hall of Fame. I also wanted to touch on this man, a true legend of Liverpool Football Club. That jersey there I have over there in the wardrobe. I only noticed it today when I got Tommy's picture. Happy birthday to him. Turned professional in 1962 on a wage of £18 a week or something like that. Unbelievable when you think how times have changed. Imagine if you had been. Imagine if you were able to teleport yourself back to 1962 and tell these guys that in 2024 there's players out there being paid close to 500,000 and some even 1 million. Imagine talking to these guys in 1962 and explaining image rights to them and sponsorship and social media and all that kind of stuff. It would be absolutely crazy. Shankly once said of him, of course, right, let's just go into this. Shankly once said of this man, Tommy Smith wasn't born, he was quarried. There you go. That's how good this guy was. And Tommy Smith himself turned around and said, I was born with football in my blood. Red, of course, not blue. I love that. Sadly, would have been his birthday today, so we'll celebrate anyway. We don't forget our legends of our clubs. So happy birthday to one Tommy Smith, and of course, shout out to all his family and everything else. I am indeed. I'll have the show over later, not a bother more. As soon as I see it, I'll throw it up because I'll be pulling a late one tonight because we got SmackDown tonight, the Go Home SmackDown, and we also have the Andre the Giant Battle Royal, and we have the Hall of Fame. So it's going to be flat out this season. I haven't been betting, but Del Boy's been pinching my bets, so I send them to him now. I hope he's giving you a little bit of a kickback, Joanne, if they come in. You want to get that little kicker off him as well. That's when players played for their team and not money. Absolutely, and maybe £18 back then. It's hard to know, but maybe in 1962, £18 to play football might have been decent money. Who knows? But yeah, absolutely. Shout out to Tommy Smith on his birthday. Right, let's reflect on last night. We absolutely made a struggle of this, didn't we? Got very lucky with the first goal. Obviously, Darwin closing down the keeper and the deflection into the back of the net, which got us going. I thought we would have kicked on greatly from that. Have to say, 2 early opportunities for Sheffield United as well, which I didn't like to see. But it happened anyway, but we were up for them and stuff like that. And then we scored the OG and it went 1-1. But there was a kind of what did I feel last night? There was kind of a lack of not a lack of energy, but just a lack of urgency. And, you know, we were playing the ball around, but it felt like a behind closed doors, nearly a friendly game. Obviously, we were going to have the most of the possession and all that kind of stuff, and probably of the opportunities and stuff like that. But I think at times we were trying to be a little bit too intricate with the ball as well. And then up pop McAllister. What a season McAllister's having. Has to be in there for one of the signings of the season, if not. But he popped up with that Olympiacos Stevie G special. We can still remember the commentary from Andy Gray to this day. And I was hoping a couple of people on TikTok would put the goal in and overlap it with the Andy Gray commentary and stuff like that. It'd be really, really cool. But an absolute thunderbolt to make it 2-1. And then, of course, what a beautiful ball in from Robbo. Probably the best delivered ball he's done this season. Because Robbo this season, in fairness, he's been out with the injury and stuff like that, but he's really struggled, hasn't he, to find that real Andy Robinson form. But we've seen shades of it again last night. Beautiful delivery into the box and a fantastic directed cushioned header, of Cody Gakpo into the goal and stuff like that. Didn't flinch, didn't try to put more on it. Used the power of the ball coming in to just direct it beyond the keeper. Cody picking up his goal as well, which was absolutely delighted for the guy because he's been getting a lot of grief recently in terms of performances and stuff like that. So Cody Gakpo still showing it. Don't doubt Cody Gakpo. He still has it there. But 3-1 took the win. Probably as Reds fans, we were probably hoping for a lot more goals. We certainly did create the chances. Talking points coming out of the game. Obviously, Harvey came on, Curtis came on, lifted the energy, brought a different energy that was badly needed. Mo Salah, of course, not happy being substituted off, but he was kind of poor last night. He wasn't really on his game last night. It seemed a little bit slow and lethargic. Obviously, he's probably trying to get up to rhythm again and stuff like that. Having been off for that 2 months or 2.5 months or whatever it was. So, but he shouldn't be disappointed in being subbed off because there's obviously a reason. And the reason is massive game on Sunday as well. So onwards and upwards, back on top of the table again. We have tomorrow, Man City play Crystal Palace. I think it's the lunchtime game. I would expect them to win. And then the evening game, we have Brighton versus Arsenal. And again, I would expect Arsenal to win. Looking at the form of Brighton recently, looking at the players that they've been missing, It's been a real struggle for them this season. It's been very un-Brighton-like. But this is what happens when you sell off your best players and you try to replace them, and it doesn't necessarily go to plan. But they have definitely struggled this season. At times, they've looked really, really good, and then the drop off has been huge as well. But I would expect Arsenal to have too much for them. So going into Sunday, it will be probably similar to last night, as you were, with Arsenal on top of the league, Man City, where they are joint with us, and then it's down to us to go to Old Trafford and lay down a marker in this in this title race this season. I think this is a game that both Arsenal fans and Man City fans will be looking at as a potential banana skin for us to drop points, and I'm hoping that we won't. But I think if we do go to Old Trafford and we do get a win, and especially a comprehensive win with playing good football, I think that will lay down a marker to the title race, and it could push us on to potentially get us over the line. And especially with the likes of Jota, Trent, Allison, and players like that returning. Obviously, Curtis returned last night, looked absolutely brilliant when he came on. Love the energy of Curtis Jones when he comes on the pitch. But it's going to be huge. And it's a massive game on Sunday. And it's a game where, you know, either it can propel you on to some brilliant end to the season, or it can absolutely be catastrophic. Then coming up next week, where it's so important as well, then you have Arsenal and Man City back in Champions League action up against Real Madrid and Bayern Munich respectively. So that's gonna weigh heavy on them. That's gonna be tough. And then on Thursday we have Atalanta in the Europa League as well. So that's going to be interesting. So it's going to be very interesting to see when European football returns what impact that has on the title race as well. So let's see how that goes. But hats off to the boys last night. 3-1 getting over the line. Probably would have wanted a few more goals, but we didn't get it. Let's go into the comments. Morris. Didn't expect them to make hard work of a team that has conceded 78 goals prior to this game. Absolutely. The thing about it though is they have been better in recent times. But certainly I would have been expected more. I would have liked to dig more into that goal difference, to be honest. Best Alexis since Sanchez at Arsenal, not United. Absolutely. Yeah. What a boy. What a purchase. What's the crack, Eno? How are you, my friend? I'll drop over tomorrow. Absolutely. Look forward to see you, man. We gotta get your mania predictions as well and stuff like that, Eno, when I see you tomorrow. Can't wait. So that's where we are at the moment, and that's our title race. We're back on top by 2 points, and 5 points. 3 points the gap to Man City. So it's kind of as you were as we go each week, and it just depends on who plays first. And going now back with European action returning, we're going to be generally playing last, I think, more often than not, because we'll be doing the Thursday, Sunday swing, whereas the boys at Arsenal and Man City will probably be doing the Tuesday, Wednesday, Saturday, or Saturday evening swing. So let's see how that goes. Reckons 2 amazing teams, the Reds versus the Reds. Reds versus the Red Devils. But yeah, so that's it. So title race is where we're at and where we would expect. Let's talk quickly about the managerial position at the moment. Starting to kind of take shape in terms of the Zerbi has been ruled out. Alonso has ruled himself out. So now we're looking at a list that looks similar to this. Let us know your thoughts on it. Who do you think would be going in? My pick is still Amarin. Nagelsmann is there. Inzaghi is there. Ange is there. And also in recent times, there's been talk that could Pep Linder's head be turned. And how would you feel about that? Would you be happy if we could turn Pep Linder's mind? For me, Amarin is still the guy. I know Darren has thoughts. He's suspect on Amarin. He would like either Nagelsmann or Ange. He's also spoke recently about how he wouldn't mind having Ange at Man United. So let's see how that goes with everything that's evolving there. Cole Palmer appreciation post. Absolutely. He was excellent last night. Picked up a hat-trick, seen the picture afterwards with the ball. And what a crazy game. And I'm sure Spurs and Aston Villa were rubbing their hands when that happened. But yeah, he's been an outstanding signing. I have to say, he's been that one ray of light at Chelsea this season in what's been a horrific season. And I think even with all the crap that Poch gets, and I know the Chelsea fan base aren't happy and all that kind of stuff, you could see last night what it meant to him. You could see how it meant so much to him and stuff like that. So it was interesting to see that as well. Teddy Long must be back with the amount of tag matches for Mania. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. And listen, Darren made a point to me on the way home today in the car as well. He was ringing me and he was saying, don't be surprised if there's more tag teams show up for that ladder match as well. And we were talking about the Hardys and the Dudleys and all that kind of thing. So it'd be interesting to see how the Go Home SmackDown goes. So let's see what happens. Um, we love you, Klopp, you legend. Absolutely, we do. It's going to be tough at the end of the season, but let's see how it goes anyway. And we'll continue to update this list each week as maybe managers rule themselves out or we rule managers out or whatever it is. I'm sure Michael Edwards, along with Richard Hughes, are heavily involved in looking at this situation to make sure that the choice they make is absolutely correct. Right. Let's talk about the Gaffer press conference today. Let's go down through the press conference briefly and see what was said. So we started off with, of course, and we have to touch on this, and I can't believe in 2024 we still have to touch on this with people who were supposed to be show a little bit of class, but also like be a bit more grown up and all that kind of stuff. But he was speaking on the tragedy chants and eradicating it and stuff like that. And he said he just wants the fans to show a bit of class, both sets of fans. Show a little bit of class and be a little bit humble, and then they talk about what both clubs' foundations are doing with young people to help do so in educating them in this area and the importance of it and all that kind of stuff. So we touched on that. Nice to see him touching on it and stuff like that. And absolutely, his resounding thing was just show a bit of class. And that's all we ask for. There's no reason for it. Two teams going out, hammer and tongs at it at Old Trafford. No need to be delving down into this at all. So let's move on from that. He said on whether Liverpool have to be perfect for the rest of the season to win the title. I would have thought that's fairly obvious, and that was his response as well. He talked about, obviously, how close some of these title races have been. Some of them have been decided by a point or a game or the odd game here or there, and he was going, that's pretty much how obvious it is that you have to be perfect. So none of these three teams at this stage can afford to be dropping points because the other teams are going to take advantage. And we know once you get your nose in front, after this weekend, there'll be only 7 games to go, and it's going to be tough, isn't it? So yeah, fairly obvious on that. And what he learned from the FA Cup defeat at Old Trafford last month, he says mainly the story of the game. We spoke after the game about it. They started better than we took over, and we were really good that day, but we didn't finish the situation off in extra time. He said the good news is we will not have twice 15 minutes of extra time. That was too much for us that day. We couldn't control it anymore and made mistakes, and we didn't make before at all. And United turned the game around. He also made the point that the one thing he learned, and I thought this is good. It's nice that there's a bit of humour in there as well. But he made the point that uh, that the 10th interview that you do post match is not always as good as the previous 9 or something like that. So I laughed at that when he said that, but good to see it. He also said United is a top side playing at home. We all know that, but we cannot just tell. Let's do what we did from minute 15 to, I don't know, 70 something football is not that easy. We have to find a way to cause United problems, and they will try exactly the same. On that level with this opponent in this stadium, we better play a really good football game, to be honest, if we want something there. And that kind of rounded out the kind of press conference. Again, as I said to you, when you're doing so many of these post and pre-match press conferences and stuff like that, there's not really a huge amount to talk about in terms of the Gaffer. Not much has changed, and obviously he's given us player updates from the Sheffield United preview. Some of them coming back next week. Could there potentially be some available on Sunday? Could he spring a surprise? Could we get a Diogo Jota? Could we get a Trent Alexander-Arnold? Who knows? Even from the bench would be absolutely fantastic. But let's see what happens, because again, it's always going to be a tough game. Morris. Looking forward to Rhea Becky, Rox Tag, Cody Roman, Seth Drew, and Oos versus Zeus. Too much filler for a 2-night for me. Really? You're not looking forward to some of the other ones? The only one I'm really plugging as filler is the Philadelphia Street Fight. And maybe you could argue the tag match maybe with Ray and Dom. But I mean, Dom has been electric this year. But I don't think there's too much filler in there and stuff like that. And I don't know if you've looked at the running order. Darren gave it to me today, Morris. They're starting out of the blocks. I think Rhea and Becky start night 1. and I think Seth and Drew starting out too, according to Darren today. He was telling me so. I don't know. Premier League journalists give the refs a run for their money. They certainly do. Dom got screwed out of a big match, really. Yeah, there's just Chad Gable feels to it, really, isn't there? Yeah, absolutely. So, who knows? Maybe they make up for it in the Andre Battle Royal. Right, let's go down through the preview for this game anyway. Let's obviously both teams coming in. We're coming in off a big win against Brighton and a big win against Sheffield United. Laboured to these wins, made a tough task of it, but got there and got maximum points. If you look at United, they were played off the park the other night against Brentford. Scored a late goal and then coughed up a late equaliser. But in realistic terms, Brentford could have been 3 or 4. They should have been out of sight. Tony probably should have had a hat trick at least. But they were poor in the final third in terms of their finishing. And United were absolutely horrific. Then we go into the game last night against Chelsea. Chelsea started off really, really well, scored 2 goals. United got back into it. Then United with what they thought was a winner, brilliant goal by Garnacho, fantastic ball in from Anthony. Not often that you're going to hear anyone say that, but it was beautiful outside of the boot ball played into Garnacho. Lovely header finish, 3-2. At that stage, you would have thought United would have kicked on at that stage, controlled the game a little bit more, but they kind of coughed up the game to Chelsea a little bit. Chelsea got the equaliser, penalty coming, Cole Palmer, cold as you like, ice through that man's veins. And then another one at the death, deflection in off McTominay in 80 seconds after the penalty. And in the 101st minute or something like that to steal the points. And that's the second time in a week for United that they coughed up points. So they'll be feeling extremely hurt. Also picked up a bunch of injuries as well. So we know personnel wise, they're really struggling at the back. I think the only senior fit centre back they have is Harry Maguire. The young lad Willie is coming in as well. He'll probably get some game time. I was building up when I show you the team formations here. That young lad Willie Campbell, I think is his name. He doesn't even have a picture on line build up. That's how difficult it is for them at the moment. Wonder will Rashford run in this game? Watch out for Mount. No, it's I don't know what's going on with Marcus Rashford. Marcus Rashford at the moment couldn't be any more less interested in football. Daz is in. What's the crack, Niall? How are you, Daz? All good. Very excited. Full weekend of wrestling. Very little sleep. Lots of football. It's going to be a magic weekend, hopefully. That's all we can ask for. Big up Daz's birthday tomorrow, folks, as well. Make sure you're lighting up the chat. Daz's birthday tomorrow. WrestleMania night 1. Don't forget the chat. Send them messages and all that good stuff. Big up Daz. I was thinking Knight and Styles was filler, and after what I seen today, I stand by that. Well, I think after what you sent me today and what we seen today, it could be even less than filler. And I've made this conversation before that with AJ Styles. I'm a huge fan of AJ Styles, but sometimes he tends to do his best work on the week-to-week shows, and when it comes to the pay-per-view, is not necessarily the case. But let's see what happens. Niall, did you get that picture of Paul Heyman and Roman Reigns in WCW? I'm not too sure. My phone is off while I'm podcasting. I'll have a look later. Happy birthday, Daz. There you go. James on the show, Niall, doing predictions. Oh, I'll have to check it out later. Love that. I was on to Twitter with Jamie today. He was talking about the ticket price increase, 2% or something like that. And I was making the point, if I'm going over to see a match, it's nearly 400 or 500 quid. These guys are moaning about a 2% increase on the season ticket. Good Lord. I will be in Liverpool next weekend as well, folks. Don't forget that we're going over for the Palace game, myself and Dazzler and Ben and Christian. 4 of us going over, so we're going to have a bit of crack at Liverpool for the weekend. Staying up in Manchester because the hotels were too expensive with the Grand National on. But we're travelling down for the Crystal Palace game. Really looking forward to seeing the new stand, and I think we're in the Brody Bar. We're in the hospitality for that as well. So really looking forward to seeing that. The link's in the wrestling chat, Noel. Awesome, yeah, absolutely. I'll check it out. Absolutely check it out. But yeah, let's talk about it. I mean, if you look at current form at the moment, we're 5 wins on a draw in the Premier League in our last 6 games. Of course, the draw coming at home to Man City. If you look at United at the moment, form 3 losses, 2 wins and a draw. So obviously lost to Chelsea, drew with Brentford, beat Everton 2-0, lost to Man City 3-1, lost to Fulham 2-1, and that was at home, and then beat Luton 2-1. So United have really, really been struggling this season. Fair to say. So obviously, players out at the moment. If you look at the list here at the moment, it's crazy, similar to ourselves. Rafael Varane, Johnny Evans came on and went off injured. The boy Willie Kambala came on and stepped up, went in alongside Harry Maguire. And that may be the case come Sunday as well. That's what they'll go with. Lindelof is out with a toy. Lissandro's out with the calf still. Casemiro could potentially be a doubt came off, but I'm sure they'll want him to definitely play. Malacia hasn't been seen since the knee. Luke Shaw with the toy. Martial with a groin. And Binder with a muscle issue as well. So they've a whole spray of players out at the moment. And this is an opportunity that Liverpool should seize on, especially with this level of players out. For ourselves, Endo sat out last night as well, but I expect Endo to go back into the starting lineup. Only had a slight knock, so they took the opportunity to rest him. That he picked it up. But obviously, Joel Matip is out with the knee, but it was good the other day to see footage of him doing a little bit of light work, jogging around and stuff like that. Big respect to Joel Matip. Ben Doak still out with his knee. Stefan's still out with this calf issue. Absolutely crazy. Thiago, I don't think we're going to see again. I think he's done at this stage. Jota almost back. We've seen him doing some stuff. And would he be ready for Sunday? Would we see a Diogo Jota cameo on Sunday coming from the bench? Trent also out with the knee as well, but Trent is on the way back, and Allison as well. So it's great to have those three back. Endo's return, I think, could see Ryan Gravenberch back to the bench. I thought Ryan was one of the poor ones last night, along with himself and Konate. I thought Ryan at times he runs down into kind of cul-de-sacs. The game doesn't open up in front of him and stuff like that. It's going to take time to get that understanding. At times he can look very, very skillful on the ball. At times he holds onto the ball too long. But that was a symptomatic of throughout the whole team last night. We were just holding onto the ball too long. We weren't moving quick enough to really open up Sheffield United at times. Robbo back at it again, so Robbo's definitely going to start, I would imagine. So take over from Joe Gomez. So what do they do with Joe after looking at Kanate's performance last night? Looked a little bit clunky. We know he's only back. But do we give him another game, the magnitude of Man United, to unravel that bit of clunkiness, or do we put Kwanzaa back in there? Jarrell, we know he's been playing absolutely fantastic. Or do we put Joey G in there? Is there a call to put Joe in beside Van Dijk? Or do we go with Kwanzaa and do we hold Joe in reserve and maybe bring Joe on at some stage in the game? Let's say Joe might be needed as well. If Bradley is starting, we might need to bring Joe on at a certain time in that game. So it'd be good to see it. Where are we now? Crystal Ball, hopefully not for you guys. No, absolutely not. Easy Liverpool victory. I'm not too sure about that, Acers. Palace used to be bogey for Liverpool, not anymore. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. That's long gone at this stage. Only Fridge, Fraser, Maguire, only fit defender and saying, yeah, plus the young lad Willie. And let's see. There could be options there where you could go with you could switch Wan-Bissaka out on the left, switch Dallo in more kind of central or something like that. They probably have options they can work with, but it's going to be makeshift either way. Mo was poor last night. He was exceptionally poor last night. And, his reaction said it all as well. Like, you don't want to be subbed. But if you're not playing well, no one's above being subbed. And I'm hoping that's going to motivate him to get out there on Sunday and put in a proper shift and get the job done. We love Mo and we know how good he can be. But you can't just half rock up in these games at the moment. There's too much on the line. Let's go. Big up Dave. Make sure folks check out Dave's LFC chats, shorts, videos, electric on Twitter, the whole lot at the moment. Dave's really putting in the grind at the minute. He was over at the Brighton game last week. He had a great time. We need to be clinical Sunday. We do. We don't want to see this situation with 25 chances and 2 goals and stuff like that. I'd rather see 6 chances and 4 goals. Let's get a bit more clinical in finishing in front of goal and stuff like that. And let's right the wrong as well of that FA Cup result, because we know that hurt us, but it could be a blessing in disguise when we look back on the season if we can deliver what we want to deliver. WrestleMania stage was absolutely shambolic design. That would have never happened with Kevin Dunn. Vince McMahon ideas and unlimited funding for the stage. I think Acers, I put up a short about it today, how disappointed I was in it, because this is billed as the biggest WrestleMania ever. My major disappointment on it was there's twofold. One, I think they were trying to butcher in more seats, so it's smaller. And two, I think they're expecting stormy weather over the weekend, and there's no roof on that stadium, so they probably had to be careful in terms of the size of the construction and stuff like that. No, but I certainly was expecting a hell of a lot more, and I expressed my disappointment in the stage with what has been billed as the biggest WrestleMania ever. What's the story, Morris? And Acers, Amrabat could start beside Fraser Maguire. Now, I think what they might do Amrabat on the left. They might do Wan-Bissaka on the right. And they might put Dallo in there beside Maguire. That's what I could see potentially happening. He doesn't fancy Amrabat at all, so you can see it. When am I going to have my interview time, fella? Absolutely. We'll chat tomorrow. So that's your breakdown there. If you look at your lineups at the moment, it's kind of a little bit up in the air. United, of course, Onana and goals, who's greatly improved over the last number of months. Wan-Bissaka's in there, Maguire, Cambuala is going in there, Dallo, McTominay, Mainu, Anthony, Fernandez, Garnacho, Hoyland. So they're talking here like Rashford doesn't start. I think Rashford will start on Sunday. I think he's key to United. For us, the team is kind of picking itself at the moment. I think Endo slots in there, McAllister goes into the 8, and Gravenberch comes out. And I think it's a question, does he stick with Kanate or does he put in Jarrell Kwanzaa or does he go with Joey G? Let's see what happens. I think Szoboszlai is in there, McAllister in the midfield, and then up front, I think it'll be Salah, Nunes, Diaz. And if any of the boys are back from fitness, he might give them minutes at the end of the game if needed or if comfortable. Either way. That's what I'm thinking at the moment. Acers, Wan-Bissaka will be playing left back to stop Mo Salah like he did in the FA Cup game. Yeah, but he didn't stop him. He didn't stop him and he didn't deal with him at all. So I don't see that being the case. And I don't think any United fans would look at Amrabat going into central defence. I don't know whether that's a good food for thought. Remember, they might need Amrabat in midfield if Casemiro has an issue. And we've seen Casemiro this season, the drop-off has been monumental. So they might need him for that. So let's see what happens there. So, but yeah, it'd be interesting. I know where you're coming from on Wan-Bissaka, but let's see what happens. Yeah, so if we look at the lineups, this is the lineups that we went with. Of course, we just spoke about them there. I think Robbo keeps his place. I think Bradley keeps his place. The only two that are up there at the moment in terms of changes will be, whether he goes Kanate, Jarrell Kwanzaa, or Joe Gomez. I think he'll keep Joe on the bench and put him in there when needed. And then in the midfield, Endo definitely comes back in. McAllister on the left, Szoboszlai on the right. And then we have the option of releasing Curtis from the bench as well if Mac runs out of a bit of energy, because he's been absolutely outstanding. And maybe he could, in certain games, hit a wall. The energy that he exudes, the mileage that he puts in, the play, everything comes through him. His link-up play, both back and forward, his link-up play with Robbo, his link-up play with Van Dijk, his link-up play with the front players. He's involved in everything and everything comes through him. So it's going to be really, really important to see, can he sustain that? And if there's a problem there, then we have Curtis there as an option. But definitely, there's no dropping Alexis McAllister at the moment. He's absolutely outstanding. Saying Dazzler was fuming after Parma winner. I don't know, because when we finished the podcast, they had just gone on 90 minutes. So they were only going into the added time. And then everyone just, whatever happened last night, the WhatsApp group, everyone just disappeared off the thread once that happened. Bar myself and Ian were talking, and I think Greg and Dean. But Darren was absolutely fuming. Yeah, Goldbridge's reaction was priceless when he threw the chair and nearly put it through the monitor. Absolutely brilliant. But it goes to show the frustration, like, and what it means to people. And especially if you like our guys like myself and Dave's LFC Chats, Dave and all, when you're creating content, and of course, Jack and Spider and all these guys, and it's just, you're so deep in it all the time. You're preparing yourself and all that kind of stuff. So it kind of means so much more at times, as the slogan goes. This means more, So no one wants to get on here and chat for an hour on the back of a bad result and stuff like that. And the end of the season is so close now. We can nearly taste it, and it just, just one mistake, one stupid refereeing decision, one stupid VAR decision now at this stage cost you the league title. So everyone has to be on it, and I think the gaffer made the point of that today in the press conference when he said that everyone has to be on this 100%. Otherwise, this could all unravel very, very quick. Uh, yeah, absolutely. The reactions were just crazy. Saeed as well. Saeed's reaction as well. He was absolutely devastated. You know what I mean? It's just, and it just goes to show how much these guys care. You know what I mean? When you react like that, it means so much to you. For most of these guys, especially creating content, if you're working in a full time and getting paid for it, it's your world. It's your world. Yeah, Howson was fuming last night. They're all fuming at the moment. There's a lot of denial there in relation to Eric Ten Hag and stuff like that and all. And I think it's very easy to turn around and go, oh, the players and this, that, and the other and all. And yeah, it always lands with the players. There's not a whole lot you can influence once they walk over the line if they're just not interested. And the players at times have really let Eric Ten Hag down this season. But also, there's been a lot of times as well that his own naivety and his own in-game management has absolutely crippled them as well at times. So it's really, really important that you take that into account as well. Morris not exclusive enough for CHPP. There you go. There you go. So let me know your thoughts on the lineup there. Um, I think he goes with Rashford in this. I think it'll be interesting to see though what's the dilemma there with Garnacho and stuff like that. But I think to not start against Liverpool at Old Trafford with Marcus Rashford, and a lot of United fans might want it that way as well. But for me, Rashford, he has to start, I think. Now, the question is, do you switch Garnacho to the other side, or you just stick with Anthony, who at the moment is showing a little bit of form at the moment? Um, do you keep on progressing that, or do you drop him back to the bench now and put Garnacho in there? That's going to be the big decision for Ten Hag come Sunday. And of course, if Casemiro isn't ready, does Amrabat go in there with Manu? What do they do with McTominay? Is it McTominay that goes in? We know with McTominay, he goes in there as a DM with Manu, and he just ends up vacating the position, opening up the midfield, and leaving United way exposed at the moment. But for us, it's going to be a difficult game. We've got to go there. We've got to be professional. We've got to put these guys to the sword early and really, really get in there. Um, can't make the mistakes that we made in the FA Cup. Got to be clinical. Got to score. Got to get the 3 points, get out of town, and move on. As I said, rivals in the title race will be looking at this game with bated breath. Going, this is a game where they could mess up on. Even at this stage, draws are no use. You've got to go out there and you've got to win. United would like nothing more than to dismantle our title race. And we would like nothing more than to put United to the sword again, especially after that FA Cup game. So lots on the line. Plenty of changes. Both teams juggling personnel at times. So let's see who goes for it and who has the mettle to do it. Ten Hag is definitely sacked Sir Jim face when Palmer scored winner priceless. Absolutely. Anthony won't start. I don't know, Acers. I don't know. He has showed that ball last night to Garnacho and some of his play at the moment ain't been too bad. And I was the biggest Anthony critic, but let's see what happens. Cody Rhodes bus blew up. I seen that. Wow. WWE World looks phenomenal. It does look phenomenal. And I thought that the mega star they had there and all was unbelievable. I seen a couple of kids today being interviewed that they want Cody or Roman to win and stuff like that. And some of the kids were holding some really nice figures I'd like to have in my collection. So I was sickener that I didn't go. Yeah, but how and never. There's always another time. But we're going to enjoy it over the weekend. WrestleMania is going to be fabulous. Don't forget, folks, check out our Dark Side of the Ring review on Hardy Race. It was a tough one. Obviously, check out Pro Wrestling Weekly there as well that we did during the week. Check out all the shows. Pumped up a couple of shorts there today, looking for your predictions for night 1 and night 2, and also the Andre the Giant Battle Royal tonight. So jump on that as well. Drop a little comment in there. Let us know who you're thinking of going for. Just finally, prediction for the game. I'm going to go with a 3-1 win to Liverpool. I think it would be comfortable, hopefully, at 3-0. And I think we might cough up a chance late on for United. But let's see what happens. We're going for 3-1 Liverpool. And I think if we can get out of there with maximum points and the win, I think it will send a statement in the title race, and I think it could absolutely propel us on to the end game if we can get that done. Dark side of GP Productions, absolutely. Looking forward to Paul Heyman Hall of Fame speech. Absolutely. It's going to be interesting to see who shows up as well. I get the feeling that that stage isn't going to be just shared by Paul Heyman and Roman Reigns. Surely some ECW originals are going to pop up there and arrive on that stage to greet this man home who has been an absolute icon of professional wrestling for more decades than I care to remember. Until next time, folks, enjoy the weekend. We'll continue to drop any shorts about anything we see in relation to WrestleMania or football. I will be back with my thoughts on the lineups on Sunday. I'll also be back with a match reaction, as always. And I'll be giving you my reactions over the weekend to WrestleMania as well as it all evolves. Massive weekend for content, massive weekend for sports. Enjoy it. Be careful if you're out in those storms aren't like that. There is storms due to blow in over the next couple of hours and stuff like that. So don't be going out anyway stupid unless you need to. And we'll talk to you again real soon. Acers with the final one. Stunning Steve Austin. Absolutely. We are now over and out. We certainly are, Talk to you again. See you, tomorrow at the shop. And we'll talk to you again real soon. Cheers, folks.